He's more tough than fluff. Here's your look at the new Playmates toys. This is the Power Players Bearbarian. Game on. With a crash of Minergy-fueled power bands, 9-year-old Axel transforms into a 6-inch tall supersuited action figure and joins the Power Players, a living toy team battling to save the world from Madcap and his mini minions. Are you ready for more Power Player reviews? I know, certainly I am. We're going to stop the tape measure, because after all, we're taking the measurements for Bearbarian. Gosh, I love that name. We're going to take it, though, right to the very top of his crest, the crown that he wears on top of his head. And right about there, right there. Right there, I clocked the figure standing almost 6 inches, almost. I slipped it by almost saying 6. It's actually technically 5.9. Let's call it like we see it. And what we see also is that the figure stands 15 centimeters tall. Let's bring in the other Power Players that we had a look at. There's Axel. Just recently we also had a look at Masco. I decided to go back to yellow mask for the time being. I'm sure that will change. And also there's Sarge. You can see, yes, in fact, that all the figures are very different, both aesthetically in their designs, their colors, and their sizes. Again, I'm really liking this line because they are very unique to one another, yet still being very much a team, and that's good as well. What's also good as well is the fact that Bearbarian comes with this giant mallet. It's a mallet, or a hammer, I suppose, would be a little bit more accurate of a gauge for that. You can see that the handle has been done in a faux wood design. You can see the little grain work done on the handle itself. And then the actual main head of the hammer has been riveted and done cast in gray plastic. You can also see there's a few little scratches and indentations on either side, just a little bit of extra care to detail. You can take the hammer or mallet, depending on what you want to describe it as being, and you can fit it into Bearbarian's hands. And it's a lot actually easier. Instead of feeding it from the top, don't do that. Instead, you can kind of just pop that in place, and Bearbarian is ready to start swinging. What a neat designed figure. Reminds me of the old Care Bears back in the day. You certainly would not expect Grumpy Bear, as angry as he does get with life, certainly not to start adorning himself in armor and start swinging with a giant mallet like this. That's pretty cool. We're going to go ahead, though, and just take it out of his hand just for the time being, because we don't want that to get in the way of things. We'll just pop that out of his hand just like so, and put that to the side. As I mentioned when we had a look at the measurements for this figure, I took it right to the very top here. It does not seem, while I'm looking at it here, that the headdress can actually come off. I mean, it kind of looks like it, the way you look at it from the side, that it seems like it could separate. But it looks, if anything, like it's probably been glued in place. So ripping that off would probably cause such despair in your life, and would leave probably like a glue residual along the top. You probably also won't see a finished piece underneath that. But am I the only one that gets a Care Bear vibe from this? It feels very much like a Toy Story design with a little bit of armature here for this battle warrior bear. Really looking at the design itself at the top, I can't tell whether that's cat-like. It looks very much like a cat-like helmet. As I said, it's not removable. It's permanently affixed in place. It's actually attaching as well to the hair on the back of the Bearbarian as well. That's probably going to be a slip-up a couple of times. I like his face. I mean, I hope we can also get another version of Bearbarian where he's got the screaming mouth like he has on the back of the packaging. That's so cool. I like that. Generally, the coloring of this critter is all blue. You can see they've sculpted the fur rather nicely here in the torso and the arms, the hands, and the face, and even in his tiny little tootsies. Not so much tiny. They look like tree stumps instead. Again, I don't know if I want to continue to beat a dead horse. Not even that I like that saying. But what's up with these hexagonal-shaped peg holes on the undersides of his feet? I know, I keep drawing attention to that. But are these specific for something? I mean, they're, first of all, there, so it makes me think that they're intended for a display stand, but they don't fit any of the universal pegs that normally go along with the regular stands. So I don't know if these are intended for some long-term plan from Playmates Toys. I'm really not sure, but the fact that they are uniquely shaped and as hexagonal shapes makes me think that they're intended for something. Okay, I promise. It's the last time I'll mention this with all the future reviews of these figures. Like with the other figures as well, I probably didn't even point that out for Masco, but the little calling card of the power players is located here on the side of Bearbarian's belt. Masco's was actually a little closer, and it was part of his wrestling title, and probably one of the reasonings why I failed to mention that. But each one of the figures also do have these. They're in different places. The little sash belt along the top, a shoulder strap, also has a little skull located on the middle or 3/4 of the way down the middle section. And that's what it looks like on the back. A few little tears and rips in his pants. Just again, like the fact that they put those little tiny little nuances in there. Again, if you really wanted to, why not have Bearbarian team up with the Ninja Turtles? Everybody sort of locks everything into one toy line. But the way I see it, though, I mean, if these figures are sculpted, designed, and are as articulated as one of other Playmates' big properties, the Ninja Turtles, why not from time to time have the Bearbarian show up and help out the Turtle brothers fighting the evil Shredder and Krang? Why not? You can certainly do that. For this guy's articulation, we'll have a look at that right now. His head rotates, his very large head rotates all the way around if you wanted to. Kind of sort of gets stuck right here where the hair meets up and doesn't quite like his neighbor, the shoulder cover there. So you can just rotate that back. But in theory, you couldn't technically rotate that all the way around. The head moves up and down. You can slightly rock it back and forth. Shoulders hinge outward, and you can rotate those all the way around as well. Gets a little, again, hung up on that one area right there. It continues to kind of get hung up right there, but you can move the arms all the way around. You can hinge them out. He has a swivel at the wrist. He has a swivel in his waist, and that's it. This particular one, unlike the others that we've had a look at of varying degrees, this one doesn't have posability, basically from like the waist down, and that's perfectly fine for me. Let's go ahead and get this giant hammer back in place. There we go. All right. Even though this one doesn't have as much the posability as the other members of the Power Players team, there's certainly a lot to like about this one. He's a little bit taller, towering over the others, and he's larger in stature. And it's neat, the idea that you would never imagine the two things could go hand in hand. That being sort of a Care Bear design and Conan the Barbarian. But you mush the two together and you got yourself a wondrous thing, a sandwich of delight. You've got yourself, ladies and gentlemen, Bearbarian. And yes, one of my favorite things about this figure is his name, Bearbarian. Whoever thought of that virtual clap behind the scenes? His read-up also states this toy teddy is no softy. His fists of fur and his world breaker hammer. He's the Power Player's heavy hitter. You can probably read that on what I might also point out, the clip-out save file. Kind of going a throwback, if you will, to the old 80s toys, where you could cut out little read-up, little bios about those characters and keep them for your own personal collection. All the figures that we've looked at up to this point and the additional 2 figures all have those cutouts. So clip them out, save them. And if one of your friends want to maybe read up and know a little bit more about Bearbarian, you can either let them read it for themselves or just memorize it for yourself and hope that one day comes that somebody comes over to your house and says, I wish I knew a little bit more about Bearbarian. And then you can say, this toy teddy is no softy, and proceed to read the rest of the bio. Your friend's going to be pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with this line thus far. Having what now? 4 figures in with another 2 figures to have a look at. Again, each one of them all unique, each different from the last, like warrior fighting snowflakes. How's that for comparison? I love the fact that each one of these are so different from one another that they feel like they really do belong in different toy lines, and yet they all come together like the members of the A-Team to fight and stop the evil Madcap. What cool looking figures. A big thank you to the folks over at Playmates Toys. If you guys are interested in picking these ones up for yourself, Power Players should be available right now in retail stores. So pick these ones up and add them to your collection. And why not also have them play alongside the Ninja Turtles? If your friend is the same type of friend that would also come over and tell you, no, they have to play with only themselves, well, then you can probably find another friend. I feel like a toy line like this, with every other toy line that's out on the market, mix and match these from time to time. If you want to have G.I. Joes fighting alongside Transformers, do that. If you want to have the Power Players team up with the Ninja Turtles, I think that would be an epic battle, and I would love to be a part of that, to witness the spectacle in front of me. Don't worry, I drink very little, so if you have a juice box, that's more than enough. I'm very self-sufficient. Invite me over. I'd like to see that battle commence. Either way, though, what do you guys think of the Power Players Bearbarian? And also let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think is your favorite character or figure based on the ones that we've had a look at so far. We still have to look at two of them. That's Galileo and also Madcap. So those are going to be coming up in the next couple of reviews. So make sure you keep your peepers peeled to this channel and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Not only are we going to be having a look at the other two members of the Power Players, but there's also going to be a whole vast amount of reviews still lined up and coming soon to this channel. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.